Absolutely phenomenal morning, guys. This is your Breakfast with the Brand. I am your host, Shaan Rais, as always, flanked by the phenomenal Bobby Jackson. Listen, of course, it's No Tie Thursday. So wherever you're at, wherever you're listening in, I hope, unless it's a prerequisite for your job, that you absolutely have no time. I hope you got your coffee. I hope you got your water. And most importantly, I hope you got your pens. I hope you got your pens and I hope you got something to write on because, of course, we never, ever, ever come to play with you. We come to help you start your day with actionable insights, real strategies, evidence based tactics and tools that you can use and that, if you use, will grow your business, not 5 years from now, but today. This is your Breakfast with the Brand. Bobby Jackson, how you feeling this morning, brother?
Absolutely phenomenal, coach. Absolutely phenomenal. It's one of those days that started early, had client calls as early as 5 a.m. this morning. So it's a great morning. Great morning. So it's nice to be up on Breakfast with the Brand this morning. How are you, coach?
Oh man, I feel phenomenal, man. I'm just putting something in the chat real quick because, of course, guys, we need you to share this out, right? We need you to share this out. I was listening to something earlier today, and that's kind of going to be the topic of today's talk because you want to render a fortune of service. Render a fortune of service. Everybody worries about what's going to come in, like what's my income, what's my return, what am I going to get, what am I going to get out of it? But I want you to think about what you give will determine the quality in which you live. The quantity and the quality of what you give will determine the quantity, the expansiveness of what you get in return, and the quality of how you live. Just think about on your job, right? You're looking for a promotion. Everybody wants a raise. Everybody wants to add a zero. Everybody wants more. Okay, great. That sounds good. But the world and the universe does not respond to your want. It does not respond to your want, nor does it respond to your need. It responds to what you deserve. It realistically responds to what you deserve, and what you deserve is determined and based upon what you give. So this is what I learned very early on. We don't get paid for what we need. We don't get paid for what we want. We get paid for the level of our service. That's going to be the topic today. What is the level of your service? You're trying to coach, you're trying to become a speaker, you're trying to build your consultancy practice, you're a professional, you're a key executive, you might not be a key executive, you're trying to break into the C-suite. This will only happen based on the quality and the quantity of your devout, dedicated, and consistent service. That's leadership. And we're going to talk today about how you can leverage that leadership or utilize the leadership leverage to increase your outcome. But the outcome is just that. It's what you get in return for rendering a fortune of service on the front end. That's why we do this. And that's why I say share this out. Because everyone that you know needs to know this. If you have children, they need to know this. If you're trying to build a business, if you're in a relationship, you need to render a fortune of service, because that which you have, if you don't render a fortune of service, that which you have, you can wake up one morning and it'll be gone, because somebody's willing to render a fortune of service. If you are not, everywhere you got gaps, guys, everywhere you got gaps in your business, everywhere you got gaps in your service, on your job right now, if you're going to an office right now, look around. Look around. Because somebody's there earlier than you. Somebody's going to stay later than you. Someone's going to outwork you if you allow it to happen.
Man, this takes me back to my days as a young Marine. And I got a few awards. I've got 3 Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Awards and a Navy commendation, Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Award. And these are not easy to get, so to speak. You don't just come by these. And I received these awards primarily because of the service I rendered. And the service I rendered was much like what Shaan said. I got a lot of my awards when I was a young Marine. I didn't get many of my awards when I was a seasoned staff NCO. I was already transitioning into business, transitioning out of the military. So I was like, okay, this part of my chapter is closing. So a lot of my awards came when I was young. So I want to share this piece with you all as you give service and you give, serve, and you get what you deserve. Your business, much like my military career, is dependent on who you can impress with what you know, what you do, and how you do it. And when I say impress, I don't mean like make them think of you as a big guy, like impress someone. I mean impress. What can you impress upon them? What emotion? Like I was picked by name on several occasions to do very important evolutions for very important missions, so to speak. And it was because of the impression that I made on people. So as you build your business and you're going through the process of developing your C-suite or breaking into the C-suite, what impression are you leaving? And that definitely leads into branding.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Impression management. One of my favorite topics. One of my favorite topics is impression management, managing the impression that you make. I say repetition deepens the impression, and it does, because you have to be consistently that way. So there's a funny story about me, and it goes back to corporate where I was called church. They called me church because I wore a white shirt every single day. I mean, dress down Fridays. I dressed up. It was dress up Fridays for me. Saturdays, Sundays, I didn't take vacations. I didn't take days off. I was that guy that was there 24/7, 365. If there was a time that I could be at work, I was at work. When people got days off, I got upset because I'm just a super high achiever. I'm what they call a high performer. So when there was a time when the organization was closed, I'd be beating on the door. Sometimes I'd get up and get ready and be ready to go. And my wife would be like, it's shut down today. Like it's a federal holiday, man. And I'd be like, right, it is. Well, I'm gonna still go to the gym. I'm gonna still do my prayer service. Like I'm gonna still do everything that I do because that's who I am. It's not what I do. I was living brand you, not what you do, long before you guys were introduced to me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Like this is not Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram for me. It's a way of life. And when your service becomes more about you and who you are, your personal brand, and less about the salary you expect, the promotion that you're looking for, the income that you're looking to receive, that's when you'll grow for real. We'll be right back. This is The Breakfast with the Brand. There's slow growth and then there's scale. There's incremental growth and then there's exponential growth. What I want to talk to you about is adding a zero to you and experiencing exponential scale. Incremental growth says 1 + 1 is 2. Exponential growth says 1 + 0 is 10. Incremental growth says 2 + 2 is 4. Exponential growth says 5 + 0 is 50. Guys, listen, when you add a zero to you, you can add a zero to the marketplace. You can add a zero to the value that you bring. So you can add a zero to your family, add a zero to your legacy. This is what we're talking about. We're not talking about incremental, we're talking about exponential. I always say that business is a spiritual game. Just imagine when you combine your skills, your values, your abilities, your talents to something bigger than you, something greater than you, something like the power of exponential. That is adding a zero. Add a zero to your competence, add a zero to your confidence. This is about adding a zero in your life, your value, your industry, and your mission. Let's grow. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
All right, guys. So I know sometimes people look at things like comments that come up and they're like, what is that? Where is that? What does that mean? Coaching like a leader. I don't know what that is. Speaking like a leader. Where is that found? So let me just drop this in the chat real quick for you for later, right? Not right now, but for later. If you're interested in knowing more about the Coaching Like a Leader program and coaching like a leader and what I have found to be the most comprehensive compendium of real life evidence-based coaching practices. Well, I'll say praxis, because praxis is the intersection of competence and confidence. So when people went through Branded Like a Leader, they were like, okay, where do I go get the coaching certification from? And I didn't want to, it wouldn't have been ethical, because I know they wanted money now. I know they wanted clients now. I knew they wanted revenue now. So it wouldn't have been ethical for me to say, go back to college and go through 6 years like I did to get a master's degree in coaching. Nor could I say, go to one of these places that'll certify you in 2 days and give you a coaching certification in 2 days that you don't know how to market with, don't know how to get clients with. You got to remember, like, I've worked with people who had 20 years of certifications in coaching and never had one client. Never had one client. So when I was asked at the end of Branded Like a Leader, where do we get the coaching certification now? I had to say, just give me 2 months and let me go in my archives and compile all of the evidence-based, research-based, and scientific-based practices on coaching and compound that and integrate that with all of the branding and the marketing knowledge that I have, so that when you get the certification, you can actually monetize the certification. And that's where Coaching Like a Leader came from.
Yeah. I remember that. Good times, while Shaan is getting that locked in for you guys in the comment section. One thing that I'll say about Coaching Like a Leader is I was actually still in the military when I received Coaching Like a Leader. And as I got that course and I went through it, it revolutionized my coaching, even as a staff NCO. So I say that to those that are still in your organization. Like, if you're still in your say Fortune 500 company, or you're still working in the workforce and you're looking to improve as you transition, that's the course, that's the one. Because I think Shaan said this once. He said that coaching is the new language of leadership.
Yes,
I believe,
sir.
I think I've heard that. And I found that to be true. I found that people don't want you to tell them what to do like people used to. Like, people don't want you to be domineering. People don't want to feel like you're a middle manager just pulling strings. Like, they don't like to feel like that. People want to share their insights, and they want someone to facilitate an experience that allows them to autonomously, to a degree, work out their own salvation, dare I say. Like, they want to figure out their own problems. They want to know that they're capable, so that they're not running back to you every time they have a problem. And I think that Coaching Like a Leader definitely did that for me. So I just wanted to share that piece, that it's one of those things that, yes, I do coach to this day as an executive coach, and I do get paid to coach executively. But even when I wasn't getting paid to coach executively, I was leveraging it in my workforce, and I was getting recognized for it and by it.
And Bobby's workforce was the military. So it was a very highly scrutinizing organization. But this is the difference, right? What I teach is evidence-based, guys. You got to remember, I've got a master's degree in industrial and organizational psychology, organizational development and change, and educational leadership. So that's 3 times the master's degree, right? So it's not a hunch. It's not an opinion. You can be motivated, but it's not feely, emotional, and all gooey stuff. Like, it's really like scientific and evidence-based. It works. Leadership needed a new language, just like leadership many times needs a new face. That's why I say we're changing the face of leadership. The organizational practice that Bobby was talking about that nobody wants to do anymore is the compliance era. The compliance era comes from the industrial era in manufacturing, and how there was a power plant and all the entire town had to come to the one warehouse and manufacturing plant, and it was like a conveyor belt. And instead of cameras, they had people. Instead of cameras watching you now, they had people looking down on people inside of warehouses, and there were no cubicles and there were no walls, and everybody just worked all day. And there was a compliance era where people shouted out demands at the people, and they had no options. They had no choices. Well, now, in the age of information, all people have are options and choices. So you have to lead differently, because nobody leaves a job, they leave the leader. Nobody leaves a paycheck, they leave a leader, because leaders don't know how to communicate in this new era. So you have to learn how to communicate, and you have to learn how to emote. People are very emotional right now. You have to know how to mitigate personalities and lead with your heart first, and use active listening, and then restate statements to let people know that you're hearing them and that they feel edified. You have to learn how to encourage and how to inspire from within to bring out intrinsic motivation for people to stay with you. Because why else would they? It's about vision. It's about your vision. It's about your insight. It's about your vision for the future, because people can get a paycheck anywhere now. Like, paychecks are not hard to come by. Money is not hard to come by at all. So people come in and out of, like, the biggest problem within organizations is retention, development, leadership, retention, and attrition. Attrition, they hire and recycle. It's like a recycling plant. Like, people come in and leave, like clients come in and leave if your coaching skills are not up to par. So if you are in an organization in the leadership position and you're noticing the heightened attrition and the lowered retention, coaching like a leader will help you change that. If you're a business owner, CEO, and you have your own business and you're noticing that people are defaulting, they're coming in or they're not coming in, and then they're leaving, they're not staying long, that's a coaching problem. It's a communications problem. Coaching is the new language of leadership. It is a future-focused, goal and action-oriented process. Rewind that. Coaching, the evidence-based and scientific research definition of real coaching, evidence-based coaching, is a future-focused, goal and action-oriented process. It's not a motivational speech. It's something that they have been holding within higher level Fortune 500 organizations for 20 plus years for the manufacturing of leaders who continue to scale themselves and continue to scale their businesses. It's been held away from a certain population for a very long time. And as soon as I found out about it, as soon as I discovered it in college, I said, I said, this just doesn't sit right. I said, it's not ethical. I said, it needs to be brought to the masses. It needs to be brought to the people. And everybody can't pay for it, so it needs to be given to them for free. And that's what you see here. What you see when you come to the Breakfast with the Brand, what you're getting is high-level executive functioning coaching. High-level executive coaching for high-level professionals within organizations. So that's why you're inspired to either go move up in your job or out of your job and start your own, so that you can treat people the right way. That's coaching. That's coaching. Coaching is also a series of high-level questions, specific and strategic questions to help other people discover their own truth. It's not just giving curriculum. When you're giving curriculum all the time, that's not coaching. That's called consulting. There's a difference. Many people don't know the difference because they never went through the actual educational process to learn the difference. But there are differences between mentoring, coaching, life coaching, executive coaching, consulting, organizational consulting. These are all different fields. But watch this. They're all multi-billion-dollar fields. So if you're serious about legacy and you're serious about leadership and you're serious about building something for your family, you're not wrong when you look at coaching. You're absolutely right. The problem is if you think you know it and it's not working, it's because you didn't learn it in the right place.
Yeah. As I'm taking my notes here, I remember when I used to look down on coaching. Believe it or not, I didn't know what it was. I'm like, coaching? I'm not a coach. What's a coach? I had no idea of how powerful it was to be a coach. I was calling myself an economist. I was calling myself all kinds of stuff, guys. Like you'd laugh at the old way I used to market. But what I think is so interesting about the way this conversation is going today is that if you can coach properly, in my experience, you can develop other leaders. And that, I think, is what it's all about. It's about getting into an organization, be it your own organization. How would you like to duplicate yourself? Because I've been going through this process right now for like the past year, 2 years, where I've been getting coaching on, one, how to lead myself, but two, I've been learning the process of cloning myself. And real coaching and good coaching allows you to coach others into their own phenomenality. So as you're building your business and your organization, I want you to think about who that star player is on your team, or who's that individual you know is not performing to the fullest, but you're not coaching them to the fullest either. So it's like, ooh, I got something here. My business is booming. Like I'm sitting on a gold mine if I can just unlock the various potentials within my organization. And sometimes your organization doesn't have to be huge. It could be you and 2 other people, be you and 3 other people. Like Shaan told me a long time ago, if each of you guys can pull $250,000 on your own, you can do $1 million with 4 people. Like you don't need a lot. And if each of you can do $1 million, you can do $4 million with 4 people. Like it really depends on what you are able to, one, give so that you can live. How much can you give to your team so that they can live to the fullest of their potential? And one of the first things that I got from my team was closing like a leader. And that's how we were able to get my team equipped so we could start speaking the same language. Granted, I was a closer at that time. I was a hell closer, mind you, a high-end luxury closer, right? At that time. So I was speaking a language that they didn't understand, but I had to then get the course, and then I had to leverage my coaching ability to coach them on how to use the course to unlock their hidden potential so that we could pull the top and the roof off of our lead conversions. And it really has made a difference. So I just want you guys to know you might be sitting on a gold mine. You may have 1 or 2 guys, 1 or 2 women or in your organization that just aren't performing to the fullest, but you get to coaching them right. You get them equipped with the right tools. It's game over.
This is the real thing. Like when Bobby says 250 per employee, that's a minimum. That is a minimum. So if you have a business and you're paying employees, they should, let's say you got 3 employees, the minimum revenue of the organization should be $750K. Minimum. Not outstanding, not phenomenal, not outrageous, not scaling. Not scaling, surviving. The minimum. If you have 1 employee, you should be at 500K minimum. Don't start hiring people. And if you hire people, that 90-day trial, that 120, 180-day trial should be to see if your revenue grows with the person. Because if the revenue doesn't grow with the person, then you're paying the person out of what you earn. Don't get people stuck in systems and stuff where they're not producing revenue for your organization. And sometimes as a CEO, we all need coaching. Just let me let you understand that. Like I eat my own food. Like I'm a chef, but I eat my own food. Like you have to have coaching. You have to align yourself with people who have done it before. In organizations, they call it mentoring. They'll take an executive that's been there for 34 years, 40 years, and he's about to retire, and they'll bring in somebody who shows promise, who does what I talked about in the very beginning of this segment, who does more than they're paid for, who shows up early, stays late. They're a high performer. They've got the intrinsic values. They got the characteristics of leadership, but they're young and they're fresh and they're malleable and they're moldable and they're coachable. And the CEO or the manager, the business operator will say, okay, this person has potential. Lock them in with, connect them with John from marketing or Nancy from finance who has been here for 30 years. Let them connect and let that wisdom transference take place. Let that coaching, that future-focused, goal and action-oriented process magic take place. And we're going to create a leader, a real leader. And this is the secret and the science behind Jack Welch's prominent rise to one of the Fortune 500. He's the CEO of the century. And I got to meet him and be tutored by him, or mentored by him in the Jack Welch Management Institute at Strayer University before he passed away. GE went up 400% under his tutelage. There were very specific things, very strategic things that he initiated into that practice at General Electric, but it was known as a leadership faculty, a leadership facility. He created one of the first leadership development facilities laid in organizations. And he did it through high performance executive coaching. He created a culture of coaching and a culture of mentoring. And a lot of those young guys who came in under his tutelage, who were lucky enough to come in under his tutelage and under the system that he built, once connected to higher level, higher performing people overseas that had been there for 40 years and going through that leadership development channel and gateway, they're actually many of the CEOs that own the businesses that are Fortune 500 companies now. They are leading their own businesses, leading their own teams, and they've taken that wisdom of coaching and they've implemented it into the culture of their organization. It's really a phenomenal thing. It is transferable. It is not transactional. It is transformational. Transformational leadership through executive coaching. We'll be right back. This is The Breakfast with the Brand. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just a very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. I said Shaan Rais. I'm proud. I said Shaan Rais. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Shaan, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. All right, so a lot of people wonder when we start going into these cubby holes, right? Like the coaching and the speaking. Sometimes people wonder, are we still talking about business? Are we still talking about branding and business? And the answer to that is an emphatic correct, an emphatic yes, affirmative. We don't deviate. What we do is we illustrate. We illustrate and we explain how. So that coaching is the how you grow your business, because you grow your business through people. You grow your business through people, internal and external stakeholders. Clients are external stakeholders. Your team are internal stakeholders. They are the gatekeepers to your success. And coaching is the key to unlock that potential that Bobby was talking about. It's a skill. Communication is a skill. It requires a high level skill to unlock the potential. This is the thing, Bobby, right? So some people come to one organization and they flounder, like they straight flop. They would perceive themselves a failure, but then they go to another organization and they excel straight through the roof. Become an unknown entity. Like who was that person? They weren't the same. That's not the same person, but they are the same person. They're under different leadership. They're under a different mechanism of motivation and inspiration. And it's called coaching. And it brings it out from within, because listen, a paycheck is not why people stay with an organization. And a paycheck is not why people leave. You can get money anywhere. People leave and stay because of the level of the leadership. And the most effective communication of leadership is coaching.
You know, I love this so much because it's brings back so many things. But one thing that I just want to lean into really quickly is maintaining versus maximizing. When I came into business, I didn't want to just maintain. And many of you all don't either. Like, you don't want to just be here. You want to maximize this thing. You want to take it as far as you can take it. And that's natural. I think that's the natural inclination of entrepreneurs. And one thing that I want to share with you all is that there's a difference between maintaining a business, keeping the revenue stable, keeping the MRR stable, and exploding it. Because what I did was I did 400% revenue growth for 3 consecutive years on top of what we did the last year. And that's the power of coaching, because I myself as the executive was getting coaching, and then I was coaching my team, and then I was able to see the monthly recurring revenue turn into annual recurring revenue that turned into growth. See, and I really want you guys to see how powerful this is when you think about your business and your organization. A lot of times we think about business management instead of entrepreneurship. Business management says, let me manage these resources that I have optimally. Entrepreneurship says, let me go into the marketplace and shift economic resources to a more favorable and profitable use for the benefit of my community and organization. And sometimes we need to be in that type of environment. And that's something that I just want each of you all to kind of know as you think about it. Where are you in your business? Is your business to the point where you just want to stabilize it and maintain it and keep it going? And that's okay if that's where you are. Or is your business in a position where you're like, I need to add a zero? Because if you need to add a zero, you may need to add a hero. And sometimes you're the hero you need to add. You need to add a zero to yourself so that you can become the hero you need to attract. And this is the last piece I'll share before giving it back to Shaan. He taught me a long time ago that you attract who you are. So if you're looking for that hero, you're looking for that person that's really going to help you scale the organization, you may need to scale you first, because nobody wants to work for someone that they're not. And I don't want to say nothing crazy, but people don't want to work for someone that they don't respect. Like, they want to work for someone that they are proud to work with. And I'll even change that work for someone to work with someone. People don't want to feel dominated, and they definitely don't want to be dominated by a chump, right? They want to feel like they're working with someone that is extraordinary and adding to their phenomenality. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, that there is a difference between maintaining and maximizing, and I opt for maximization, and coaching is how we maximize.
You know, I'm always deep onto the wordplay. So did you say chump, Bobby?
I did. I hope I didn't go through
right?
and hit them too hard.
So watch this, guys. You got to ask yourself, like, am I a chump or am I a champ? Am I a chump or am I a champ? And if you understand coaching, then that's a champion's language. And listen to what Bobby said closely, because nobody wants to be on a chump's team. Everybody wants to be on the champ's team because everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to win. So it's fine for you to win if it not be. Luther Vandross started backup for David Bowie and Roberta Flack. Luther Vandross, like the Luther. Let me just say that, Luther, the illustrious Luther. I think he was the first one that you just said one name. Like, he might have been the first one where you just said one name and that was the icon, and you knew him by the one name, and then Tina, and then Bruce, and then Michael, and then Prince. You understand? But I think Luther might have been the first one where you just say, Luther, that's Luther. We're going to see Luther, and everybody's like, oh, yeah. Right? So he was a champion, but a champion first had to follow directions under other people. You see? He became a champ through supporting other people, and those people poured into him, and through their pouring into him, he was able to become. So champions, pay very close attention. This is the lineage of leadership. Champions want to follow and be poured into by other champions. No one wants to be poured into by a chump or a power, ego-driven, sadistic, maniacal narcissist, be it male or female, with the wrong language of leadership, one that's coercive, one that's condescending, as opposed to one that's cooperative, collaborative, and coaching. And this is just the science of human development and human resources. It's the same thing at home with the kids and the wife. You've got to use a strategic, open-ended question strategy sometimes to get people to comply with your highest wishes. You can't even make demands on people anymore. You can only demand things of yourself. When it comes to other people, they have to be motivated. They have to be inspired. They have to be intrinsically drawn and moved. They have to be led. And nobody wants to be led by a chump. Everybody wants to be led by a champ. So I'm going to say, in order to amplify or champlify your leadership, you have to learn coaching. You absolutely must. It's so imperative. Like, it is non-negotiable right now with AI and IT and all of these different human replacements, all of these standard skill replacements. All right. Now, see, through teaching and through coaching and through speaking and through looking for the next words, I discovered things. Standard skills are being replaced at the highest velocity in human history. You can't just punch tickets anymore. You can't just collate anymore. You can't just be present anymore. Presence does not get paychecks. Paychecks are based on performance nowadays. And the way to grow and amplify your performance is through coaching, and at the same time receiving coaching. Because if not, you're not growing. There's no such thing as stabilization anymore. Nothing is stable. The economy isn't stable. Housing isn't stable. Every industry is being disrupted. Look to the left. Somebody's closing out their office. Look to the right. Somebody thought they had a job and they don't. You might show up to work one day and it's closed because of the technical skills that were doable by artificial intelligence. You know what hasn't been figured out by artificial intelligence yet? Intrinsic, performance-based, ethical, and authentic communication. Leadership development requires other leaders. And that means you. That's where you've got an edge. you still have the ability to learn a skill that is not standard, that is actually superior. Superior communication is a superior skill. The way I speak is authentic. It's not scripted. AI can read a script. I can feed a script to AI. Somebody, you could go to ChatGPT right now and say, give me a script, give me a speech from Shaan Rais using his language. And they'll give you something that sounds like me, but they'll never be able to predetermine what I'm going to say or how I'm going to say it or how I'm going to help you to move your business or move the needle in your life or in your health or in your relationships. They'll never be able to predict that because it's so authentic that I can't either. And this is how you get ahead. This is how you stay ahead and you escape replacement. You escape replacement through a culture of coaching and becoming an authentic, phenomenal, evidence-based coach. Because everything that's been done before can be duplicated.
Man. And as I spoke before, guys, I was on a coaching call this morning, and it's incredible the reward that coaching gives. You know, it's incredible when you can sit across from someone and know that they've entrusted you with their future to a degree. Now, granted, you're coaching, so you're asking open-ended questions. You're not necessarily giving anyone any answers, so to speak, but they are. And here's something that I really love about coaching, because I believe the people that we're talking to are of a certain caliber. Like, you are an excellent individual. You're educated, you're experienced. And I want you to know that there is someone out there that is looking to pay homage to the work that you've done for yourself. And what I mean by that is, when we wake up early here at the brand, we do it so that we can look phenomenal, feel phenomenal, execute phenomenally, and other people can borrow our confidence. And you heard me say that right. When I'm coaching someone and they look at me and they saw me slim down, they look at me if I'm flexing and they see the cuts there, they're like, this guy is telling me something that he's done. He's telling me something that he does. And for you, you can do the same thing in your business. That's why you do it. You wake up early, you read the books, you went to college, you did what you do so that you can help people. And that's what I love about coaching, is because people are looking to you. And Shaan said something to me once. He said, I'm getting paid right now for work that I did 10 years ago. He's like, I'm having a conversation with you right now, and I'm able to leverage the books. And he'll hold up a book that I wrote 10 years ago. He'll pick up another one. Hey, I wrote this last year. And he's able to say, and you can do it too. And when I'm able to borrow his confidence, and he even told me, channel me at times. He's like, if you're on a call and it's a big number, he's like, think of yourself as me. I've taught you what I know. You've done what I do. The only difference between me and you is time. I've been doing it longer. And like, when someone's that transparent with you and that helping with you, and they really show you the way, it's like you become a lifeline. And that's something that I think is extremely precious. And AI can never really do that. Like, you can't sit in front of AI and they say, hey, I'm only eating X, Y, Z, and I only do it this frequently. And yeah, if you do this with me, you'll look like you're a computer. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like to crave X, Y, Z. You don't have those taste buds. So I digress there. And I just want you to know that when you do this right and you take it seriously, like I know you do, because you're watching this because you are serious, you're a high level executor and thinker. There are people out there that you can impact on a level that is unimaginable. And it's simply because of you being who you are and them being able to borrow that confidence until they become confident enough within themselves to go out and do the same thing, because leaders create leaders.
So watch this, guys. You know, sometimes we'll have an aha moment, right? As we near the end of this segment, it's through coaching that we did it. Like the 450K in less than 90 days happened through coaching. I literally went live on Facebook. A guy had to tell me to turn my phone around because I didn't know to put the phone a certain kind of way. I'm on the whiteboard and he's like, Shaan, we love everything that you're giving, but we can't see the screen. Could you turn your phone around? So I'm coaching, but I didn't have the systems piece. but I'm coaching because I learned it. I had a master's degree in it before I began. I'm not just like feeling some kind of way and saying, if you could look up, you can get up. I'm not doing that. I'm really basing it on scientific and evidence-based research that I've studied for years, and that's based on evidence-based research that's been happening for the past 100 years and more. So because I'm doing that, it's effective. And Bobby's a prototype. He's an example of it. He's a mirror example of what we teach works. So I want you to just be confident in that. Like, okay, I see him saying it, but I also see the results next to him who's saying it too. And at some point, he was in the same position I am. He had a job. He was in the military. He worked in corporate. He didn't have a bachelor's degree at one time. He didn't know what he was doing. He was stuck. Like he didn't know what to do with the intrinsic motivation and the education, experience, and expertise that he had. Phenomenal leader, but didn't know how to express it, didn't know how to communicate it, didn't know how to turn it into a coaching business, a coaching program that helped him add a zero to his numbers and then add heroes to his team. Transformation is transferable. It starts with you. Transformation is transferable. It starts with you. You have to first transform yourself and be willing to go through that transformative process. It's going through the dark and not knowing what it's going to look like on the other end, but having faith and making the investment of time and money to get to the other side because you believe that something on the other side is going to be better than what you're dealing with now. And that's what Bobby did. He made investments, huge investments in himself. But he also made investments of time because you can't buy success. What you buy is access. So because he bought the access and then realized, okay, if I don't implement this, if I don't stick around, like if I don't learn this, then it's not going to just be downloaded into my mind. That's magic land. That doesn't happen. That's on the Matrix. If you want fairy tales and fancy land, go to one of these other communities. But if you want reality, then come to Shaan and the Leadership Leverage, because we're going to tell you the truth. You have to implement it, and you don't get an ROI if there's no SOI. What does that mean? You buy the Peloton bike, you put yourself on the payment plan, and if you don't get on the bike, you don't lose weight. It doesn't give you any value at all, but you still get charged for it every single month. And there's no returns or refunds. Because it works. The only variable is, do you work? Because if you work, this works. And if you work it, the system works. The coaching, listen, pandemic proof, recession proof, depression proof, because you can't find it except at very, very resourceful places. You can't just find it anywhere. I guarantee you. I work with people who come to me after 5 programs, 10 coaches, and they be like, Shaan, I was in this program, this, I won't name any names, but this program, that program, I've worked with this one and that one and that one and this one. And I've never seen anything, and I've never heard anything, and I've never utilized anything that gave me the kind of results that I've gotten here in the less than 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. It's recession proof. There is no recession. There was no pandemic. As a matter of fact, when things go bad, and you have a specialization, a highly, highly skilled specialization, when things go bad for the economy, things go phenomenally for you because you have the right psychology. It's a different technology, guys. You become the brand. You become the coach. You become the business. Really, and you take it with you. And the beautiful thing is that you can empower those who you choose and infect them with effectiveness and efficiency so that they can become confident like you, competent like you, phenomenal in different ways like you. I've duplicated myself through Bobby. And Bobby doesn't work for me. He has his own business. But he's been able to take what I've been able to give him that I went back years and years and decades and did research and wrote dissertations and all kinds of thesis programs and worked under the grind and the grist mill for years and decades to get this kind of information. I give it to him, and now he's infected with phenomenality and perfection. And that's what he gives to his clients. So then his clients go give it to their families and their clients. And their clients give it to their clients, and their clients give it to their clients. This is the power of coaching. This is the power of the Breakfast with the Brand. I hope you've enjoyed yourself today, and we will be back tomorrow at the same time, same place as always. Why? Because we believe in you. We believe in the power of people. We believe in the power of leadership. And yes, of course, we believe in the power of coaching. Tomorrow, same time, same place. Let's grow.